Dan, I was thinking I want to know a bit more about Telecasters.
Well, Mick, you've come to the right place. Hey everyone, welcome to that pedal show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello.
Well, this is going to be fun.
That was a spirited beginning, Daniel. Sorry, I'm laughing because he's just like giving it everything. We've got a Princeton and a deluxe reverb, fairly way cranked, and
It's the sound of ages.
it's a glorious noise.
Right, today we're talking about Telecasters.
We are.
And we recently did a show on Strats, which was after me banging on about it for years. Mick finally succumbed, and we did a show on Strats. I had many questions, and Mick had many answers. Loads of you wanted to do a similar thing on Telecasters. Now, it'll be a bit different than the show we did on Strats because the Telecaster is essentially a much simpler instrument, which is, of course, part of its charm, part of its beauty. But there are some questions to be answered about Telecasters.
Yeah, and a little journey through the ones we've got that sort of demonstrate a point here and there. We thought, let's get all the Teles we've can put our hands on, and counted 11.
Yes.
Most of which say Fender or Squier on the headstock, and some of which say something else, so they are not Telecasters, they're T-shaped objects. But anyway, we'll get to those. Maybe we'll get to those.
Indeed.
I want to start off, Dan, and ask, because in the context of that pedal show, the Tele has always been and always will be Dan's guitar. Mm-hmm. Why the Tele? What drew you to it? When did it begin? So
I was a Strat player for years and years, and after much saving and stuff, I managed to get a 1964 L Series Strat. It was in bits. The neck was on a blade guitar, the blade guitar neck was on this thing, and the guy gave it to me and said, if you want to swap the necks over and put that back on that, and here's the original pickups and everything, you can have the guitar for a couple of grand.
Wow.
This was back in 4, and it was all the money in the world I had. I took a massive punt. It was sort of dug out for a Floyd Rose, right? I thought I took a massive punt, and I took about 6 months to put this guitar back together. And it was stunning. And I played it for about a year, and then it was stolen. And it was the night of a gig. And I thought, well, I've got to get a guitar. And a friend of mine had a Telecaster. And so I had all my same gear, same pedals and amp and stuff. And the only difference was the guitar. And I plugged this thing in, and I was like, whoa.
What Tele was it?
It was. Do you remember the Strat Plus?
I do.
It was the equivalent Tele version.
Maybe a Tele Plus.
Yeah. And it just sounded phenomenal. I had a Jerry Donahue a Seymour Duncan bridge pickup in it. And I just, because we did a lot of rock stuff, and just the rock thing on it was just, it immediately changed my mind on what a Tele was.
There's a huge amount of, we were talking about this before we started filming, you know, at this point in time, I think we could be fairly confident among the wonderful TPS audience that Teles are cool, right? I mean...
And it wasn't always that way.
That's the thing. When I first started playing Strats in the 90s, Teles were really not cool.
Yeah.
And the common perception of a Tele was that it was brash and brittle and thin. And why on earth would you ever want that country guitar?
Isn't it funny? Because I remember seeing Status Quo play live for the first time. And I was... So a friend of mine was supporting them.
I love Quo, by the way.
I was backstage, and I heard this because I didn't have a clue who Quo were, right? And I was backstage, and I heard these guitars, and I went, "Oh my word, that is crazy!" I thought that must be Les Paul's, you know, not two Telecasters, and I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. But even though there's been examples of that sound throughout, when there was this idea that the Tele was a thin, scratchy, you know, neck pickup was pointless, you know. And I sort of discovered really quickly that the Tele was the guitar that I wanted to be able to play, because what I found really quickly on the Telecaster is that I had no vibrato. My whole thing was a Strat with this.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that's something I've got to sort out. If I couldn't play it on a Telecaster, you know what I mean? If I couldn't play it on something so simple like this, then I knew there was something wrong with what I was doing. And because it is such a direct sound, like, so we've done it before with the Strat where you just hit the guitar, it's got like a built-in spring reverb. But because the directness of the Telecaster, you hear everything.
Yeah.
And there's no hiding on a Telecaster, you know, because of the nature of the guitar, because of the frequency range. It's got those, there's no, the mids are all there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I heard it started playing, I thought, I want to get really acquainted with this guitar and see if I can actually do something with it. And I never played anything else for ages and ages.
So Dan, we'll talk about Dan's Teles as we go along. I think a good place to start might be if we look at Butters.
Yep.
And this.
Yes.
I'll pick up Butters to begin with, if you like. If you don't, if you're not au fait with Teles, right? This is what it looked like in 1950. More or less.
Yeah.
First ever production solid body electric guitar.
Amazing.
1950. Mad, innit? We'll hear them side by side in a sec. Now, so ash body, they weren't always ash. Sometimes they were pine and sometimes they were older, which we'll talk about in a sec. But most commonly, for your sort of standard, what they call Blackguard Tele for obvious reasons, ash body, maple neck, bolt-on maple neck, 2 single cord pickups. You know all about that. You tend towards that spec,
Yes.
which is later.
Yes. This is a 63 spec. So we still have the round lamb rosewood fingerboard. The earlier ones were slab, but this has got the round lamb thing on it. But the frets sort of still go into the maple a bit.
They do a little bit, apparently. Yeah, they can do.
So that rosewood there with an alder body.
Yeah, so different bodywood.
But the rest is basically the same. There's the difference with this guitar is the bridge pickup, which is just the most mad sounding thing with the beveled magnets on it. And I rarely see these.
Yeah, so the spec changed over the years. We'll hear them in a sec, but the classic Blackguard,
Yeah.
they were called broadcasters in the beginning. This is not a history lesson. You can look that up on the internet. Then they became no-casters and they became Telecasters. But the classic spec is this. Shall we hear them back to back?
Right, we've got the Deluxe Reverb and the Princeton Reverb. We had them on before for a show we recorded, and they just sound absolutely spectacular. So we thought we're just going to leave them on for this. Okay, so just the amps on their own, bit of reverb in the amplifiers, bridge pickup. So it just from that, right? You can tell this is warmer, as there's a wooliness in the bottom end. As a mid-range, it's a warmer in the mids as well. Whereas that is all pokey. It's fat, right? But there's a poke and an edge to this thing, which is out of control.
Let's do a bit of gain on a minute. I'm quite interested in this because the way that this guitar deals with overdrive is quite spectacular.
So just a mild gain, yeah? With a tube screamer or a bit of protein?
A bit of protein.
Okay, all right.
That is the sound that I've got used to over
Right.
the last 5 years, hearing a Tele week in, week out. And no matter what guitar I pick up, that thing always is just louder, more present, overdrives in a like really present way.
Yeah.
It's a really unusual thing, isn't it? And it just, I guess what we're galloping towards here is the kind of fact that they can rock.
Wow. Like nothing else. One thing that we were sort of touching on when we were talking about getting the show together is, when we talk about like fuzz circuits, right? No, well, circuits in general, the more simple the circuit, the more important each individual piece is. It's the same with the Telecaster. Because it's such a simple guitar, just the difference of a slight change in the voicing of the pickup or a bridge saddle or whatever has a massive impact. Now, I'm not exactly sure what combination it is with this guitar gives that sound, but there's something about the way this has come together.
Because it's not a particularly high output pickup, is it? Do you know
Not
what the
at
DC resistance is
It's
on it?
7.6.
7.6K, right? So if those of you know anything about pickups, that is not high.
No,
Right.
not at all. But it's the combination of whatever it is that gives this guitar a certain thing. And that's the same thing with all the Telecasters that you'll play. Because they are so simple, there's a few things that the saddles,
Yeah.
pickups, even the bridge plate has a big impact. This is actually a bridge plate from a 50s Telecaster that a guy working at a guitar shop in Sydney, he had a bunch of them. He said, "Oh, try that one."
Is that why it doesn't fit?
Exactly. It's exactly right. It doesn't fit properly. But yeah, all the little things make a massive difference with the Teles.
I wonder if we should progress in that vein then, and let's bang through a few guitars and
Yep.
have a listen to the bridge pickups, because we've got a bunch of guitars here today.
Before we do that, let's just take one step on from this. So this is 63 spec. I've got an actual 1965 guitar here.
Yeah, so Dan, this red one is a custom shop guitar, and this one is
So this is 1965, proper one, real
Original.
one, original.
Come on then.
Right. So this is like a cross between this and Butters almost.
It's got a wicked mid honk, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does, but it's still warmer. It
Yeah.
doesn't have that quite the same edge as this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does have a real, MIDI thing to it.
So when you're playing, what would make you choose either this one or that one then?
If I put a bit of gain on, and
Yeah.
you hear like with the same pedal we had before, there's it's lower output and just more of a classic vibe with this. So, this is so forward and so rock.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
There's a twang. There's a twang that guitar has.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I remember when I first heard that guitar, at the very first vintage guitar show that we did.
Yeah.
And I first heard that guitar and I just fell in love with that sound.
And ended up buying the guitar.
Indeed.
I liked it so much, I bought the company.
But again, Round Lamb fingerboard. This is older and this is ash.
Yeah. We think it's ash.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure it is.
But vastly different sounds.
Yeah. Within the brackets of Telecasters.
Of course.
Okay, well, for those of you who haven't switched off already, going, wow, one of those guitars is $3,500, the other one is $4,500, and the other one is probably $10,000. What about the other end?
Yeah.
So we do
totally.
have. If I could ask you to hold on to this one, Dan.
Yep.
So that is now the most expensive guitar in the room. I actually think this might be the cheapest guitar in the room.
Yeah. It would be, except for the pickups that are in there.
Okay, so we can't use that one. This. Roll VT. I don't know, you wait ages for an unboxing video and then two come along in 1 week. Squier FSR Bullet Tele MN-PMT. Purple metallic, MN maple neck, and it's the Danish Pete one. We ordered one when it came out at 149 quid or whatever they were. Literally never opened it. Cool. It's been a hard day. So what I'm going to do next is I'll take these strings off, put some of my strings on there, and just do a really super basic setup job on it. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting about that is, I don't know what strings they come with, but I've put the 10.5s on and the nut doesn't need any attention. They've just gone in there fine, so well, read into that whatever you will. More or less the pitch. We'll have a quick look at the truss rod. Yeah, that's fine. The action might want to go down a touch, but I'm actually tempted to leave it where it is. Do you know what? That's blooming cracking. Straight out of the box, new set of strings. Plays absolutely fine. And the intonation is pretty much bang on. The action is totally playable for me. Might be a tiny bit high for a beginner, but winner. So you know what this is all about?
Yeah.
This is now, we think this is the least expensive guitar in the room. I think they were £139 or something like that.
No way.
Check that neck out. Unfinished.
Wow.
Or it's mostly unfinished. Feels like it's got a real thin sealer or something on it.
How cool.
Yeah. So not sure what the body's made of. Some sort of solid wood, hopefully. Maple neck. I think we should side by side them, shouldn't we?
Okay. That sounds great.
It's not bad, is it?
It's really good.
I'll get you to have a go in a sec. Let's try some overdrive.
So that mid honk with gain is where it kind of sort of stands out. Wow, this is great.
Isn't it? There's not much wrong with it.
Man.
Just try the neck pickup a minute. That's a bit of a different story.
Yeah.
But I think what it shows you is that for, next to no money, literally, you've seen the unboxing, so you know what's happened to this guitar. It's
That's really impressive.
pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Should we listen to some other bridge pickups?
Yeah, totally.
Because is it fair to say that guitar sounds thin? Sort of generalization is still prevalent.
I think the idea of thin, it gets confused with bright.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because there's a lot of attack, a lot of treble, and forthright mids doesn't mean there's not bottom end there. But it certainly cuts through. But that's they're a rock machine. Joe Strummer, AC30, Telecaster, rock machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, other bridge pickups.
Get your fattest bridge pickup.
That sounds fantastic. So this still has loads of that bite about it, but it's massive. It still sounds really, really fat. That's so cool.
It's pretty fascinating. What you saw there was Dan's custom Carl Longbottom guitar with the proper Cunifé wide range humbuckers.
They're not Cunifé actually. It's a different magnet, but it's there's a whole story about the Cunifé magnet, but they are proper wide range humbuckers.
As close as you'll get.
As close as you'll get.
Okay. I believe the second guitar you heard was a Roll VT. Okay, second job. This might be a bit more fiddly. My friend Ollie, good friend Ollie, photographer friend Ollie, gave me a guitar before lockdown, first lockdown. Could you put a new pickup in? I'm like, yeah, sure. Cue months going past where I haven't done it. So let's see if I can do this in time. What do we got then, Ollie? It is what looks like a Mexican Standard Tele. Ah, cool. Really cool. That looks like a Mexican Standard Tele. Wicked. And apparently somewhere in here is a new bridge pickup that he wants putting in it. Bare knuckle pickups. So this is 11.5K ceramic magnet blade pickup. Both pickups. Oh my God. Bridge pickup. Yeah. I think we can hear that is a beefy son of a gun. Let's string it up and get it in the room. Okay. yeah, just a quick tour de force of different Tele bridge pickups, or at least pickups in T-style guitars. And you can draw your own conclusions. That I thought the Blade pickup in the standard Telecaster retained Tele sound,
Yeah, totally.
in a way that this and the long bottom do less.
Sure.
And I don't know how much of that's to do with how it's mounted in the bridge.
Right.
I think it's got something to do with that.
It's all got all to do with it.
What were your under the fingers? Where were you feeling? Can you remember?
I guess I'm so used to this thing. It's still home. There's the long bottom guitar with the wide range humbucker. Because I had an old custom with wide range humbuckers in it. It's actually a left-handed guitar that I converted to be right-handed. How crazy is that?
Only you would do that.
But it had a couple of wide range humbuckers in it, and it was just the most mammoth sounding guitar. And that's got that thing about it. So
certainly the fattest of the bunch, isn't it?
Yeah. The vintage, the 65, that's when you can hear it's probably the lowest output of the bunch. But that mid shape that guitar's got, it kind of, when you hear the gain, it's like, oh, okay, there's a dynamic around the mid range with the old guitar. I think the Squier stood up incredibly well.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Bridge pickup wise, yeah.
Yeah. I've got to come back to this for being rock, but still being a quintessentially Telecaster.
Yeah.
I have to find out because this is the custom shop pickup, but I've got no more information than it came in the guitar. This is 2001, and I didn't get one of those fancy booklets that told you everything about like I did when I got Butters.
Yeah.
It came with this,
So you've got no idea.
I got no idea. No idea.
It's made in the shed out the back.
But it's just those bevel magnets is the only obvious thing. But yeah, very rock. Okay, so that's the sort of bridge pickup thing. I think one of the other really misunderstood things on the Telecaster is the neck pickup. And I use the neck pickup all the time. As soon as you go up the dusty end, I'm pretty much always on the neck pickup. And the other thing is, because I'm doing jazz bits and pieces at the moment, I find it really wonderful for doing jazz stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been a number of famous jazz Tele players down the years.
Absolutely. So Ted Green,
yeah.
When I first heard him do his jazz stuff on his old, pretty sure it was a Blackguard. It's life-changing stuff. It's just absolutely phenomenal. There's been a number of really wonderful Telecaster players. There's Tim Lurch is a guy I'm looking at the moment, and he's constantly blowing my mind.
Yeah.
He's got, I think, a Charlie Christian neck pickup in his old Telecaster. But yeah, wonderful Telecaster player. So, I mean, let's get, I'll grab the Butters out. So, from the bridge pickup, it's just so chimey and amazing. And then just with the tone control. And suddenly you're a jazz.
Jazz guy.
It's a wonderful jazz guitar. And again, it comes back to that simplicity of this thing. If you can make it sound great on a Telecaster, there's an amazing what's his name? He's got some custom Gretsch pickups with Ron Ellis. Oh, come on.
Julian Lage.
Oh my word. Go and have a listen to him on a Telecaster doing his jazz thing. It's just wonderful. So I don't know if it's the simplicity of guitar that a lot of jazz guys tend towards, but there's something about the sound of that neck pickup. But the other thing that the neck pickup can do is, going back to tone on, and I find what can help with this is a little bit of volume rolled off on this, but there's a almost stratty. So I'll put some tube screamer on.
Let's have a listen to some neck pickups then.
Yeah,
because
sure.
that's kind of interesting. I'll hand you guitars. You just do the thing.
This has got it, man. This is amazing.
Best sounding Tele neck pickup in the room.
Absolutely. Obviously not a Strat, but there's a,
Yes, it is. No, I just thought it would be good for context at the end.
Yeah, totally. So there is more of a bite out of that, you know. But it's really interesting that there's a misconception that I've heard people say that the Telecaster neck pickup is basically pointless.
Pointless and useless. And incidentally, if you do, there have been a number of developments over the years in Tele neck pickups. One of the more recent, really popular ones is a pickup that Fender do called the Twisted Tele neck pickup. And I actually think you saw Dan play the Jason Isbell custom Telecaster there. That pickup is kind of based off that.
Right.
And I think I'm right in saying that the one in red has got longer pole pieces as well, hasn't it?
It does have longer pole pieces. Also, the pickups I put in Liv's guitar, which are the
We didn't hear
Ron
that.
Ellis, the Ron Ellis pickups.
Oh man, we didn't hear that.
Yeah, so longer pole pieces instead of sticking through the bottom of the bass. And it just gives it a bit more output and grr.
Yeah, some people say sounds more stratty.
Yeah, the Strat neck pickup obviously has a really particular thing, but the fact that you can get really great jazz tones and clean tones and everything out of a Telecaster neck pickup, it's certainly a lot more flexible and usable than a lot of people give it credit for. And I use mine all the time. There's a mod that you can do actually. If you find that the neck pickup is a bit too dark, you can remove the tone control from the neck pickup, which I've done in red and in the 65. I've removed the tone control for the neck pickup.
I wonder if that's where it comes from, because the bridge pickup is bright, loud, brash.
Yeah.
It's actually the contrast between the two. Because you can, on any Tele you can get a great sound out of the neck pickup, but it might be if you've optimized it for the bridge.
Totally.
By the time you go to the neck, it's just a bit too dark, and therefore, well, maybe we could talk about it very briefly, but loads and loads and loads of Tele players will always play with a tiny bit of the tone rolled off.
Right. On the bridge pickup.
Yeah. And if you do that, and you don't have the neck pickup connected to the tone pot,
control. Yeah.
The balance between them is just
awesome.
So much closer.
Yeah.
Than it would be otherwise.
Yeah.
Maybe let's talk about that then. There's a couple more kind of setting things I think are worth looking at. One is the tone pot on the bridge pickup. The other is that in between setting.
Yeah.
Because it is such a classic sound when you hear it in the context in which it's most famous, which I think is probably funk.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the James Brown recordings and Parliament and a lot of the funk things, that in between Tele thing is a big deal for that sort of sound. Let me grab. Actually, I'll grab the old one because it's not a sound I'd ever really used before until I got this guitar. So bridge pickup, neck pickup, and then in between. Wow. This guitar has the funk.
It does that sound really well.
It does that sound beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk briefly. One of the big things about the Telecaster is the intonation, and it can be really challenging. But you see how each pair of string, the E and the B string, G and the D string, the A and the E string, they each share one of these bridge pieces.
And interestingly, this one has very clearly been bent
To try and get it.
to improve the the intonation. It is one of the bugbears of Teles, isn't it? Now, that's not to say that many awesome Tele players down the years have managed just fine, but they've usually done something like this, where that middle one is bent and maybe that one will be bent too.
Yeah.
But of course you can get mods, which is what I've done, which maybe is why you thought about it, because I've already changed these. They are still 3 saddles, but the string intonation is improved on each saddle. And you've done that on Red as well.
I
haven't
have.
you?
Yeah. So Red, my main guitar for years and years, and I think told you we were doing like Mr. Brightside. I remember being up here trying to start the song, and just no matter how hard I tried to get the guitar in tune, it just sounded like a dog's dinner. Yeah. So I got some of these saddle pieces, like titanium intonated saddle pieces, and that sorted that problem out. And I can hear on this guitar it's really good.
Yeah.
Primarily because of that. But if I play the same thing on here, there you go.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Well, because they've been bent. Do it on this one.
That's that sharp. Yeah. So, people have been struggling with that thing for years. The intonated saddles, they sound fantastic. You can, people have created bridges, like the Strat, the Tele Plus thing, had a different piece for each string.
Yeah, well, I mean, both the Squiers that we've had here today have a saddle per string.
Yeah.
The G&L ASAT has a saddle per string, so it's only vintage style ones that still have the three saddles.
But just swapping them out for intonated saddle pieces can solve a whole lot of those problems.
Yeah. What else Tele setup wise then is problematic? Not much really, is it? Because it's so
simple. I would say. Like the difference between the maple neck guitars and the rosewood guitars is stark. And the way that you approach them, if you're a country player, for example, and you might want to use lighter strings, a lower action, and a compressor to get that, real country thing. If you're a heavy-hitting rock player, you might want thicker strings and a higher action and a rosewood, neck for that mid-range thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah. But, if you're starting out, you're looking at a Telecaster and you're thinking, okay, which one do I buy? Think about if you want just an all-rounder Telecaster, like the Squier starting out, fantastic sounding thing. And that'll get you in the Tele world. But if you're like a rock player that wants to do little bits and pieces, I can use Red on anything.
Yeah.
But it's such a great rock guitar. There's something about a rosewood neck Telecaster for the rock thing, which is killer. But if your thing is more country, I would say have a look at the maple neck thing, because they have that spank. It's almost like there's a compressor turned on them naturally.
Yeah.
And
it is a generalization, a bit like, because the weight of the guitar, what the body's made of, the pickups all make a huge difference. Totally. But I think in general, I would agree with you.
Yeah, totally. So for the last thing, I'm going to stick the compressor on with Butters, and so we can have a listen just to a couple of. Okay, so bridge pickup, no compressor. So you can hear it grab the front of that note.
Yeah, big time.
And then what that's really cool for, like pedal steel type things. And you can obviously get a great country tone on any Telecaster, because that's part of that sound. But there's something, traditionally, those old Blackguard maple neck Teles have a certain thing about them that a lot of country players really like.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, I think you should get some sounds up for the way that you approach Tele.
Okay.
Because I think the danger is when you do anything like this, you stray into cliche. You start talking about funk, and you start talking about country, and you start talking about great rock, bridge pickup type sounds. Pick your Tele that you want to play. Mm-hmm. Dial in some sounds.
Okay.
I think. That was spectacular.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
That was really, really great, actually. I think that's one of the best sounds we've ever had in here. We say that almost every week. That was utterly killer.
That's
2 little amps. Look at that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
How awesome.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, that really skinny, thin, spanky, skinny guitar.
It's just
that you can only use for country. Not really.
Not yeah.
Is it?
No.
Not really.
No.
Not really.
No.
It's a flipping sledgehammer when it wants to be.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Very good.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah. Quick tour de force through a whole bunch of different T-style things. Did we play them all? That's the question.
I think we did.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Every one.
Yeah.
Good.
Fabulous.
Happy days.
Excellent. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Also, a massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
in the Australia.
The Australia. It is Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
And there are some links in the description below.
Yeah, go to sweetwater.com, click on the links, buy stuff. Me and Dan earn a bit off that. It's very nice.
Yeah, indeed. Also, a massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed strings and pedals and hats and merch and all the good stuff.
And lovely t-shirts. Summer of Fuzz t-shirts. And stealthy black t-shirts like this. Yes.
Indeed.
Go there.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.